In today's video, we are going to be breaking down Chris Paul and how he plays at the point guard position. If you are a point guard, this is definitely a video that's going to help you improve your game. So let's get down, let's check out Chris Paul and what makes him so amazing and a future Hall of Famer. Let's get down, let's check him out. So first thing is the mid-range game is what separates Chris Paul from everybody else. His ability to use his handles as well as understanding what the defenders are about to do really allows him to get a lot of mid-range shots open. For example, this one. If we rewind it just a bit, when he's attacking this switch, he starts to have that player run alongside him. As soon as he sees that happen, he crosses over almost like a snatchback, like if he's about to attack that top foot, as we see here. That rotates that defender around, gets him onto his heels, so that now Chris Paul can do a quick spin move with a high release and he can get that shot. Also, Chris Paul's ability to use these screens to be able to find players who are wide open to attack the rim. This was basically a horns, screen the screener basketball play. This then gets Chris Paul open, and then once that switch happens on the initial screener, he understands that he needs to attack that player to draw that defender out to him, because now Bismack Biyombo is going to be able to roll towards the basket if he can get that behind the back pass. This is why those passes are very important. They're not just flashy, they're actually very useful because they can get that ball to the player. If Chris Paul was to pass in front of him, that would have allowed Cat to be able to intercept that pass. By passing behind his back, that creates more separation on that pass so that it cannot be intercepted and allows Bismack Biyombo to attack the basket. Coming off of this next screen, what he does is absolutely fantastic. He has this hedging player who's coming out. However, the entire time, Chris Paul's looking over his shoulder like if he's about to pass to this rolling player. But instead, he goes up for a shot, understanding that, hey, if I get another help defender, I've got somebody else open over here. So he can get that player over there, that shot. However, the reason why this center didn't come up and hedge strong on Chris Paul is because Chris Paul was looking for that pass the entire time, and then he went up for the shot. Last second, hey, defender comes out. What do I need to do? Well, if this guy's defender comes out to try to defend me, I need to pass that ball to him because, of course, he's going to be wide open. And that's exactly what happened here. In the fast break, very similar, using where he's looking as a fake to be able to get the passes through. In this pass, he's able to see a backdoor cut so that he can get that easy basket for that player, because he understands that, hey, if I look this way, that is going to make this defender think that I'm going to be passing back over here or over here. That essentially gets that defender onto their heels, and if you can snake a pass through like that, you will be a very good basketball IQ player. So many players these days shy away from these mid-range shots. However, as we can see here, Chris Paul actually seeks them out. He really looks to break down his defender so that he can get open for these mid-range shots. You have to remember, these mid-range shots are 15 feet roughly, which is where you generally are practicing your free throw shots. These are the most practiced shots in the game, even today. So you should be pretty well set at 15 feet out. And how he's able to get these shots here is because he looks like he's going to attack. He pulls back, he then attacks that top foot once again towards that right side, and as soon as that player hops towards that right side, Chris Paul will do a quick sidestep, fantastic footwork through the legs, and then while that hand is still on top of that ball, he pushes off from the right foot, which creates more separation left-right into a shot. And this play is used a ton with that pin down screen for Devin Booker, and then that same screener sets another screen for Chris Paul. That hedge at that point comes out to Chris Paul because he's a very good shooter, in which case Chris Paul is able to get that ball to that cutting DeAndre Ayton for that floater, or dunk in some cases. Always understanding as a point guard, hey, if I have a hedge and my man is still with me, that means that there's a player wide open. I need to get him the ball, or depending on what's going on with these two defenders, I could hit one of three players. I could hit DeAndre Ayton, who's rolling towards the basket. If this player is coming up too high, this player over here may stay in the Russian spot, in which case I could pass down to him. Or what could also happen is this player may sneak off and make a mistake and try to stop DeAndre Ayton from being able to roll, in which case you can bomb out a pass over to Booker for that 3-point shot. That is essentially how you read what's going on here. This is another very popular play that we can see when it comes to the Phoenix Suns. And it's actually a very good play as well. Basically, what you're having is a screen by Bismack Biyombo for Chris Paul. You then have another post player, in this case it's going to be Booker, setting a back screen for that screener right there who can cut towards the basket. This will then collapse the zone, I was going to say zone, but the defense, in which case when that happens, when you've got two players who are worried right here about what's going on with that screen, he's more worried about what's going on with Chris Paul. He wants to also stay with Devin Booker because this is a massive mismatch right here, and they don't generally want to switch. In a good defense, this man would be calling for a switch and trying to front face Bismack. However, that's not what we see happen here. In fact, there's no switch at all, and when that happens, this man also didn't rotate down, and that means that Bismack's wide open for the dunk. And that's what we see happen here. However, if we rewind back just a bit, if this man comes out and plays help defense, that's when Chris Paul needs to do a skip pass over to the corner for the 3-point shot. That's essentially how you read this play, and it's a fantastic option if you're a player to understand, hey, if help defenses come over, who do I need to pass to? If this man comes down and tries to play help defense on ball side, which is a mistake, I can bomb that pass out to this player. Or will he be cutting to the rim so I can send him up an alley-oop? There's so many different reads that you can do as a point guard. That's why you need to keep your head up and see the entire court. Now, this is what you call bully ball as a point guard. When you attack that rim, you can use your body a little bit more than a bigger player because you're not as big as them. Obviously, you can't do this if you've got like 100-pound weight difference between you and your defender, but if you are kind of close in weight but maybe not necessarily in size, this is something that you can do. And essentially, all you do is you attack that baseline side because now you're not getting help defenders come from the top. You're only going to get a baseline defender. Because of that, if you can get your angle right beside that player who's defending you, you can do a jump stop into, or a power hop into, or pro hop, whatever you want to call it, into his body. You do not want to lower your shoulder. You do not want to get your shoulder past your foot, and that's generally not what we see here. He did not get his shoulder past his foot, which then gets that defender onto his heels as we see here. He can't go up and hop or jump as fast as he normally would, or even at all, and that would allow you to be able to hit that floater. I hope that this video helps you become a better point guard. If it does, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.